Hey guys, welcome back to Seaver's Balloon Farm, and today I'm going to talk about something a little bit different that I've been doing this year, and I think it's making a huge difference with some of my seedlings. So, if you're in the gardening sphere, you may have heard a lot about using wool in your seed starting mix or in your potting mix, and how wool is kind of helping growers essentially hold moisture in their seed starting mix so that their plants don't dry out super quickly. And also, the slow breakdown of the wool releases different nutrients like nitrogen and so on. So, there's these companies now that are starting to pelletize wool into little tiny pellets that you can mix in with your seed starting mix. And then as the mix soaks up the water, then the wool also soaks up the water and kind of holds it in. So that's just been kind of like a newish thing here in 2024, 2025. I've been hearing a lot about it lately. It's kind of becoming mainstream, I guess. But this year, something interesting that I decided to do was I actually had ordered some bulk wool for something else completely. It was dirty, it's just bulk dirty wool. Ordered it off of Etsy, and I thought, people are using wool a lot. I am trying to do some soil blocking in these 1020 trays, and I have these larger blocks. I use the 12 cell soil blocker from Johnny's. I just purchased that this year. That's a new purchase. So I can fit 72 soil blocks. They're an inch and a half in a 1020 tray. So that's been really awesome because I don't have to clean the individual cells in the cell trays, but I can also get a decent amount of blocks in a tray in a fairly quick time. Now, they do make the soil blockers in much larger quantities, but I can't afford those, and I just kind of wanted to see how it would go. But, anyways, my point to all of this is that what I've been doing is because there's little channels in the bottom of this tray, and they can kind of get the blocks will sit unevenly, or they'll kind of fall down into those cracks, and then they're hard to clean out, and it's just a mess. Because of all of that, I basically spread a thin layer of wool on the bottom, and then I started putting my soil blocks in the tray. And what I found is that it's like the wool helps the blocks not dry out so quickly. It's kind of a buffer. So it's not that they don't dry out a little bit, but even when the tops dry out, the seedlings have still done really well, surprisingly. So I just found that little tidbit interesting. If you were looking for some ways to use wool, if you have wool on your farm or access to it, and if you're wanting to kind of like cut down on your dishes as far as having to wash your seed trays and really scrub to get in the channels, the wool is awesome because once I take these little blocks out, then I just have to like kind of peel the wool off, and the tray's like pretty much clean. I don't have to scrub it very hard, which is great. And then I can just throw the wool in the bed, and it'll decompose over time and help with all that. So I've also seen where people are taking wool and they're actually like using it as a mulch on top. So like maybe they'll plant their seedling and then they mulch around the seedling with wool, and it kind of locks in the moisture and then breaks down over time too. So I just think these things are really, really cool and just innovative ways to use a product that's natural, that we have excess of, and to help solve some problems in the garden. So I just wanted to kind of share that and kind of get your brain going. Maybe there's some other ways you can use wool in your garden as well. But it's done really well for me, and like I said, it just helps the blocks not it kind of provides that buffering. So another example of this is like I don't like to use soil blocks here in the high tunnel. It's because they seem to dry out really quickly. I get really nervous about putting soil blocks out here. It's not that I won't. But what I found is that with the wool on the bottom of these trays, they don't really dry out as bad, and they can take a little bit more heat. It's just a little bit, makes everything a little bit more forgiving. So the reason why I like using the soil blocks is because I do feel like there is reduced transplant shock with my seedlings. So I want I wanted to continue using them or to use them in the garden, but I'm not the greatest about watering, and I'm not the greatest about like babying seedlings. So this kind of helps meet me halfway at least. I don't have to baby the soil blocks quite as much, and then I'm still getting that reduced transplant shock as well. If you don't know anything about soil blocking or you're kind of new to soil blocking, I have a few videos where I kind of go over the process of soil blocking. If you're interested in that, I will link them above. But anyways, I just want to share a little gardening tip today and hope you enjoy. Happy gardening, guys. See ya.